Hey, Andrew.
Everyone, this is my good friend, Kalean Harkey. Kaelan, you are my photographer for real estate. How did we first meet?
I cold called Andrew on one of my crusades to find new clients, and he picked up.
Your mom used to cut my hair.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know Allie, my wife, previously?
Oh, yeah. My mom has been good friends with Allie's mother for a long time, since she was young.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, so you cold called me. You were starting a photography business.
Yep, starting real estate photography. I'd probably only been in business for maybe 3 or 4 months at that point.
Okay.
Yep.
So tell me, what has it been like to start your own business? How old are you, first of all?
I'm 23.
23, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And you started your own business in Puyallup. What has that journey been like?
It's been a lot of learning, pretty much the whole way, just learning. You kind of come into doing a business with the thing that you love, and then quickly realize that you need more than just the passion for what you're doing to have a good business that runs. You have to kind of stack a lot of different things that you're interested in and good in to make the main thing that you're there to do work. So, for example, in my real estate photography, I don't just go and shoot a home. A lot of time it's public relations and getting to be able to become a good communicator with people, which are a lot of the same traits that you as a realtor have to be good at and practice daily. There's a lot of rules that you have to work within to not get in trouble with the government.
Oh, we love that. Business mentor of mine, Gary Keller, actually, he talks about how everyone who's in business, their number one job they do is lead generation. Mm-hmm. How have you learned that to be true in your business?
I think lead generation is the first step, because pretty much everyone you talk to, they always say, how do you find new clients? And you always respond. Most of the time they call me, or it's by word of mouth, but you don't have anyone to convey your existence through word of mouth without having reached out and generated leads initially. So for me to sit down with a list of realtors and figure out which ones are actually target clients of mine and people I want to work with has been a big part of it. Not just taking shots in the dark, but actually trying to build a relationship with a few realtors that I really enjoy working with, rather than just taking every realtor and trying to take every job I can get.
Yeah. I certainly hope that I'm on that list.
Yes.
So, Kaelan, most of the people watching this video obviously wouldn't be thinking about utilizing your services as a real estate photographer.
Right.
Tell me about other photography services that you offer, or just things you love to do with photography.
Yeah, I do architecture photography under my own name. So a lot of that is working with small businesses, photographing their spaces, as well as documentary photography. So if there's a wedding, sometimes I'll take those jobs on. Yeah. But generally I look at things less from the specialized photography, more in documentary and architecture photography, and trying to make a story put together through those two, rather than focusing on niches specifically like wedding photography or
babies, newborns,
family portrait photography, any of those.
You talked about documentary.
Yeah.
For just kind of the average person, when in their life might documentary photography or videography be something that they might want to utilize?
Mm-hmm. I'd say documentary photography is probably one of the most important forms of photography that has happened. It can really be anything between just trying to be there for an important event to just try to keep a photographic log of what it was like to live in a certain time period, or with your friends and family. It's to create kind of a legacy for the future, to look back. I know that a lot of times I look at photos of the past and I think, wow, it's really cool to look at that photo, but in the meantime, it might have just been some guy walking down the road with a camera, and he's like, no one's going to see this. And then 20 years, 30, 40, 50 years later, we look at it and we get a good idea of what it was like to live in that time period and how important it becomes.
That's so cool. My wife, Allie, she had a great aunt. Her name was Kirsty, and she had a home that Allie's great-grandparents built when they came here from Norway. And just recently, the home was removed and a commercial building was built there. And it's a great building. And before that happened, we got a few photos. And yet, if I knew you and knew your passion for documentary, it could have been cool to make a project out of that and really capture the legacy of that home and that space and the people. I see a lot of cool possibilities for utilizing documentary photography.
Well, I think you put emphasis on the space and the people, because that's kind of why I took on architecture photography, is because I really enjoy architecture and I like the people that live in them, that helped make them come to fruition. So being able to have a project where I can put the two together is really important for me, because, for example, there's a home that's no longer around that was important to pretty much anyone who stepped in it, and then also, more importantly, the person who lived in it. And now you have a record of, the person, what it was maybe like, and them with a huge part of their life, which is their home. But that could really go for anything. Lots of people like cars, and maybe that's the big thing in their life. Lots of people just want to have photos with their family and maybe at a certain event. So documentary photography is a very wide spectrum, but I think it's cool to have a single perspective on an event or something that's happening.
So I love it. Sounds like documentary photography is all about telling a story. Telling a story about a location and a space, telling a story about a treasure that someone has, telling a story about a special event and the people surrounding those things.
Right.
Yeah, I love your passion for people and story, and how that comes out in so many different ways. Tell me about Puyallup. What do you love about our community?
Before I started my business, I didn't really get too involved in the Puyallup community, but now, as a small business owner, I have to be, really, because it's the people that I'm working with, the people that I'm trying to meet and build relationships with, because I don't want to just be a sterile business that doesn't really know anyone or have any character to it. So I think so far the biggest thing has just been that joining the Chamber of Commerce and meeting people in networking groups and just walking around and talking to people. Most people are very friendly, and they all have a very good sense of the community here, and they always want to grow it and help each other out. I think that's been very different from other places that I've lived, where either they're too big or just don't have that. They're just absent of the sense of trying to push forward to the same goal. So I think that's probably the biggest thing about Puyallup.
I love that too. Last month we highlighted Elements Coffee Shop in downtown Puyallup. Kaelan, you and I have met there many times, and our drinks we're drinking right now are actually from there.
Not sponsored.
Yeah, not sponsored. They have a big sign when you go in that says generous people, and it comes from the name Puyallup, which means land of the generous people.
Okay.
And so I love what you described about the people of Puyallup and the community really wanting to contribute and to build something together and to give generously.
Right.
Yeah,
I think pretty much all the way through Puyallup and all of the businesses, restaurants, I can look at a lot of people and have either said, hey, I know the business owner here, or just say hi to the business owner when I see them, because they're so involved with the community, and they're always rallying to get to the point where they feel like Puyallup has turned into what everyone wants it to be, rather than just letting back and let...
Kaelan, you talked about getting to know other local business owners. What are some of your favorite small businesses or local businesses in Puyallup?
I think probably right now my favorite place is Cockrell's Cider. I really like that. Sometimes I go there and just it's just a good spot to hang out, especially this summer. They always had bands, and they just have a good community there. Feels like a very good place to relax. I also like Elements. Elements.
Yes, this we know.
Yep.
Frozen yogurt and coffee.
Yeah. How about yourself?
Oh man, I've just had so much fun through starting my own business as well. getting to know some of the other local businesses in the area. Of course, I have favorite restaurants. I love HG Bistro. I love East West Cafe in Tacoma and Proctor. Their lemongrass, spicy lemongrass soup is my favorite. My kids now love it there too. I love working with my stagers. I love working with you as a photographer. A lot of places. I'm excited to continue to document through these videos in the days ahead too. One kind of just final, if you were going to talk to someone else, maybe a 20-year-old who's thinking about starting their own business, if you could talk back to yourself and say, hey, Kaelan, think about these things as you get started. What would you, give me 2 things you'd say as tips?
I think the first thing I would say is to make sure that you have an actual drive to do whatever you're going to do. So if you're going to do it, don't necessarily do the first thing that you think would be fun to do, because a lot of the time when you go and do a business, it's so much different than a hobby that you just have and you enjoy doing. Like, there's so many passions that I've had and have that I would know. I just want to leave them as passions, and not make them a business. Whereas real estate photography, I felt like it's scalable and I have a great team underneath me. So taking the load off of me and not burning myself out has been probably the first best decision I've been able to make.
Yeah.
Probably the second one is just that, you really want to learn about finances. And as a business owner, especially in the beginning, it can be hard to get your feet underneath you. And then you also don't have things like retirement and savings automatically happening for you. So you need to learn about how to leverage your bank accounts to do what they're designed to do for you. Also, how to save for your future, because you could definitely gain a lot of headway with being so young, just the way how economics works.
Yeah.
You gain so much by saving when you're young compared to starting when you're older. So those are probably the 2 top things.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing those.
Yeah.
You want to go ahead? Should we do the lead out now?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I'm Andrew Farmer with Keller Williams Realty. I love to help people buy and sell homes and build ownership in their lives.
I'm Kalean Harkey with Tacoma Real Estate Photography, and I also like to sell homes. So.
And if you have any project where you want to tell a story for something, it could be a special event, it could be a special place, it could be a treasure in your life, a special person. Kaelan would love to help you put together a documentary project to capture that moment for generations.
Yes, absolutely.
Thanks, Kaelan. Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, of course.
So I know I said that there probably won't be many realtors watching this, but for any that are out there, what I really love about Kaelan and his real estate photography is he brings together just the practical aspect of capturing the home and the space as well. We communicate, he gets me what I need, but he also brings artistry to it. And so for capturing listings and presenting them in a great way, I love your artistic eye. I love fine detail shots that you get. I feel like you help me show off homes in a different way than many photographers and videographers do. So thank you so much for that, Kaelan.
Thank you.